we've evaluated that AI content has 3 times more engagement than regular influencers. The comments on these videos, none of them talk about the fact that it's AI. Like, we fool 99% of people. This is an influencer that we created that has generated close to $500,000 in revenue, 160K from a single video posted all organically. Finally, on this emotional arc, we go to the rock bottom. So we voice how it feels to be in that position. The traditional script is talking about the product in the first 10 seconds. This outperforms the other by 10x every single time. I want to start with 3 stats. The first one is $66 billion of revenue generated on TikTok Shop. That's only 2025, which is 5 times more than it was in 2023. The second statistics is that Europol, one of the biggest government agency, ran a study and predicts that by the end of this year, 90% of all online content will be AI generated. 90%. And the third stat is through the studies that we've done with my agency and others, we've evaluated that AI content has 3 times more engagement than regular influencers. 3 times. So the question becomes, what happens when you combine a $66 billion marketplace with content that's 90% generated by AI and an engagement that is 3 times more the content that we have historically been used to? Well, what happens is not just some trend that's going to die off for the next couple days. It's just fundamentally a paradigm shift on where the industry is going and how products are going to be sold online. So in the next 25 minutes, I want to show you exactly how we've been able to capitalize on this. And first, I need to address some misconception about what AI influencers are, because if you've been following the space, maybe you're picturing something like Lil Michaela. This is a big Instagram account, which is fully CGI. This is like a 22-year-old AI influencer that lives in LA. She hangs out with celebrities, so on and so forth. And it's great. It's all lifestyle. There's a lot of engagement, but it's not great for selling products. And as an audience here who likes direct response and performance marketing, what we want is ultimately buyers. Now, with an account like the right side for you guys, these are the type of AI influencers that are crushing. Essentially, they are theme pages with one consistent character that makes educational content about a certain product category, whether it's skincare or supplements, so on and so forth. So I have 3 videos for us to watch today, and let's start with the first one that will just give you an idea of what these videos look like.
No matter what foundation I use, it always ends up looking dry and heavy on my skin.
If you're over 40 and your makeup looks like this by noon, I promise you it's not your skin, it's your routine. And after 18 years doing makeup on mature skin, I can spot the exact moment it goes wrong. These are 3 mistakes I see every single day. Most women have no idea they're making them because nobody ever told them the rules changed. Mistake number 3 is the easiest to fix, but it makes the biggest difference. Let's start at the beginning with mistake 1, because this is where everything starts. Foundation doesn't fail on your skin, it fails before you even open the bottle. If your skin isn't properly hydrated, foundation has nothing to melt into. So it sits on top, it separates, it clings to every line and texture. And here's the part most people get wrong. Even oily skin needs hydration because dehydration increases oil production. Midday breakdown isn't aging, it's dehydration. Fix the base and everything else gets easier. But mistake 2, this one's gonna sting a little because you've probably been told to do the exact opposite. Layering foundation on mature skin doesn't give you coverage, it gives you a mask. Every extra layer settles into lines and creases. If you can see it sitting on your skin, it's too much. Use less and press it in. Build only where you actually need coverage. The goal is not more coverage. The goal is skin that still looks like skin. Now, mistake 3. Your formula is wrong for mature skin. Most women over 40 still use heavy matte foundations they wore in their 20s, and that creates that dry plaster look by midday. Mature skin needs a formula that melts in and moves with the skin, one that doesn't oxidize and doesn't settle into fine lines.
That's why I switched my clients to Luxe. It self-adjusts to your skin tone and stays fresh all day without oxidizing. It gives smooth, rested skin instead of a heavy finish. It contains SPF, hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, and peptides so your skin looks hydrated and balanced while you wear it. Luxe is a pretty small company that's becoming really popular, so I want to apologize if you check the link in my bio and it's sold out again. And if you want the exact prep routine I use before application, comment prep and I'll send it to you.
I played the entire video because I want you to see the structure, the emotional framework, how we edit those videos, and I told you this was AI, so maybe it seems obvious to everybody here, but really the comments on these videos, none of them talk about the fact that it's AI. Like, we fool 99% of people. And I think the technology is pretty good. If you look at the lip syncing, the facial expressions, or the tone of voice, it's pretty convincing, yet fully AI. Now, this account is a creator that we've been able to talk about skincare with, and this is an influencer that we created that has generated close to $500,000 in revenue, on which we are able to earn a commission that has ranked up to $62,000, all through AI content. It costs us nothing to make, and this is all organic. So the 62K are straight in our pocket. Now, when I show this to friends and brands, they often ask me, so what softwares are you using? What's the tool stack? And really, it has much less to do about what the software is and a lot more about the script. 80% of the work is the script. And I often use this analogy of the Ferrari, whereas the script is the engine to the Ferrari. The avatar is just the packaging. The avatar, meaning the person on video, is just the packaging. But without a good script, it's just a Ferrari sitting in a garage. The script is what matters. And quickly, who am I to tell you all of this? Well, I'm an influencer myself. I've gone through the process of ideating, scripting, strategizing, filming, editing, posting myself. And I've done that through hundreds and hundreds of videos, growing my accounts to over 3 million followers. So I've done this firsthand. And off of the back of this influencer momentum, I built an award-winning TikTok agency, which is fairly large with like 50 full-time employees, and we've generated over $100 million for our portfolio of clients. And I tell you this just because everything that I am talking about today is from having my hands being dirty and testing this with my team on a daily basis across hundreds of brands and thousands of videos. So the system I'm going to cover is actually really simple. It's composed of the script, the avatar, and the platform. Starting with the script, this is, again, where you want to put 80% of your focus. Now, by a quick raise of hands, who here has done webinars or understands how webinars work really well? Right? It's most of the audience. You guys are all like performance marketers. And so what's interesting is that those same principles is effectively what we're doing with short form content, just bringing it forward to the top of the funnel. So it's essentially just like a very short webinar that ends up being a 3-minute long TikTok. And the way that we structure it is by starting with a pre-hook. 2026, so we need a hook before the hook to really get people watching us. This is composed of just a pattern interrupt. So it's probably going to be an image overlay or something of that nature. Then we have a pain point hook. So here, we're not talking about the product. We're talking about the pain point of the user. After that, we want to aggravate, so explaining the weight of that problem and twisting the knife a little bit. The next part of the video is the root cause. So we explain why nothing else that they've tried in the past has worked, and we're trying to get smart on explaining why what they've tried before didn't work. Finally, on this emotional arc, we go to the rock bottom. So we voice how it feels to be in that position. So you could think of something like, with this problem, I'm no longer going out and I'm not seeing my friends, I'm scared of getting on photos, etc., etc. Like, that's how you feel as the viewer. Just for context, with our videos, we never introduce the product before, on average, 39 seconds into the video. And that might seem a little bit shocking because almost everyone wants to have that product featured in the first couple of seconds. But really, all we're trying to do with these videos is build a tremendous amount of trust and emotional weight such that they are dying to hear for the solution. And only by then do we present the product as the solution to that problem. So once we're at the rock bottom, we only introduce the solution then, which is the product. We follow it by a bunch of social proof results, that's your before and afters, any sort of numbers. And we end with our call to action, which also includes a little bit of urgency, like the example I've shown and the 2 more that I'll show in a second. So that is really the framework that helps us to crush it. And it's also a framework that applies to any sort of human content. I'm actually really bullish on humans still, but you'll see in a second why AI influencers are just so much more economically viable for direct performance marketing. So you have an example of typical brand script on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, an example of an emotional arc. As you can see on the emotional arc, we are not introducing the product before the tail end of the video. The 80% above are just about building trust, providing value, and having this emotional build-up. And this structure outperforms the traditional script. The traditional script is talking about the product in the first 10 seconds. This outperforms the other by 10x every single time. Now let's look at the avatar. How do we actually make these scripts come to life? Now, our finding is that credibility beats attractiveness every time. So instead of trying to make a character look super pretty, instead, we focus on generating avatars that are the most relatable and that look like the target customers. So this video outperformed, a very nice looking avatar by a mile. And I'll show you the video in a second. But the one lesson here is that you want to match your avatar to your target customer. You don't want to make it look the best. It's all about relatability and being credible to the viewers that you are targeting. If we look at the creation pipeline, this is really one of the simplest creation pipelines. And I don't think this is what the magic is. The magic is in the script. But we use Claude to write the script as well as all of the video guidelines. So what you're going to see, what you're going to hear, any sort of text overlay, we use Claude for that. Then we go to Mid-Journey, where we prompt the details of our avatar. So you can describe like a 65-year-old woman that plays tennis and that lives in LA, if that's your target audience. You'll create images with different angles such that you have character consistency. We use then 11 Labs to generate the voice, Sling to animate the images towards a video and pairing it with the voice. And lastly, we use CapCut because we do want to make some final edits, whether it's text overlays, subtitles, so on and so on, or images, as we want to make sure that our videos look native to TikTok. I want to make it clear that this is not like a fully automated process. It still takes us numerous hours to make a single video, but I haven't seen one example of a fully automated end-to-end AI video do well on TikTok. These final touches, where the human still makes it look good or makes it look cohesive and so on, are critical to succeeding with AI. So AI does 80% and we do the final 20% and making it look good. Now this process, making a video, costs less than $50 a month. That's actually quite conservative. At scale, it's literally pennies. And that's how we make the videos. The next section, and this is one that is drastically underutilized, is the platform strategy. Now, most people only post on TikTok Shop, and TikTok Shop is by far the biggest social commerce platform out there. It has the best visibility and it's great. That said, you can use that same video and cross-post it to Instagram and Facebook, where there are significantly less moderation with AI content. Meta is quite far back with their restrictions and guardrails on what you can say and what you can't say. We've posted thousands of videos on Instagram and Facebook, and none of them got violated. Also, you tend to reach a more mature audience on something like Facebook, which has more buying power and often converts better. And lastly, the competition on these platforms is like non-existent. So on TikTok, you start to have a number of these AI accounts that you see all over the place. On Instagram and Facebook, it's literally none. So blue ocean. And the second thing I'm so excited about, especially because, as you know now, I'm French, TikTok Shop just launched in Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Ireland, and so on. And so that market is completely unsaturated, and they are not accustomed to some of the strategies that are established here in the US. So you have a first mover advantage by just taking what we know works in the US, like this strategy I'm showing here, and copying that word for word, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and so on. I spend so much time with my French clients just literally copy-pasting winning strategies from US to France, and it crushes. All right, so now let me show you two more examples. I want you to see what this looks like in action. So when I play this video, pay attention to the emotional arc that I was mentioning, see how it's edited. Again, it's not magic, but also notice how the product is not introduced after a while. And I did accelerate those videos because they're all like 3-minute longs, and I don't want to do all my presentation making you watch videos. So yeah, here's the first example.
Did y'all see they tried to hide what this just said? She's 81, but she looks like she's 30. Watch this.
You're not fat. You don't have arthritis. You don't have a slow metabolism. You don't have all these health issues. What you have is chronic inflammation. To most people, inflammation means you sprain an ankle, it balloons up, turns red and sore, and it's inflamed. No, inflammation is different than that. We go to a doctor with a list of complaints, but a lot of it is silent inflammation, including my specialty, liver health. That big ass gut, the sluggish mornings, the stiff joints, the mental fog. It's not just age. It's an inflammatory problem. So how do we reduce inflammation? Well, inflammation is caused by a slow damaged liver. And if you're over 40 and you spent the last couple of decades drinking sodas, eating fried food, late night takeout, or processed snacks, there's a good chance your liver is barely keeping up. Because junk food doesn't just make a bigger stomach. It overloads the liver with chemicals, clogs your detox system with seed oils, and fills your bloodstream with waste. That waste in your bloodstream shows up as low motivation, mood swings, and a belly that won't budge. So how do you fix it? Well, not many people believe me when I tell them there's a natural healer which can flush out the years of toxic buildup in your liver. It has been used for thousands of years in Africa and Asia, but y'all know how it is. They never tell us about it in America. This ancient remedy is called oil of oregano. Oil of oregano has a rare antioxidant called carbaperal. That's what cleans out your liver, opens up your blood vessels, and fights pain and swelling. I've been recommending it for years to the women I talk to at 40, 50 years old who feel sluggish, fed up, and frustrated. Just weeks later, they always come back to me in tears, thanking me because they feel like a new person. And the only thing they did different was taking some oil of oregano every morning. But please be careful. To make sure you're getting real oil of oregano, it must be certified by independent laboratories in the United States. The only brand I trust that meets that standard is a company called Micro Ingredients, which I'll show on screen. That's because their lab tests show their oil of oregano is fresh, organic, and has high amounts of carvacrol. If you read the thousands of reviews, you'll see why everyone is buying from this brand. Most people buy it at $40 per bottle, but right now they're doing a small seasonal sale where you can buy a bottle for under $25, which will last you 3 whole months. The only problem is that they're a small company and they're becoming very popular. So I want to apologize because if you click the orange button below, you might see that they're sold out already. And the women I work with have waited for months before they could get it again. But I suggest you to click on that orange button so you can see for yourself if they have anything left. And if they do, I suggest you grab some before they're gone again.
Right? So 16 million views on that video. It generated $150,000 in revenue, and we tracked $40,000 in commission of sales making this video. And honestly, it's not the best looking video, but it's just the script and the fact that it's a credible person, or it looks like a credible person speaking about the subject, converted really well. Second example, you'll see it's the same framework, just selling a different product, and we got similar results for this brand.
I just found her, and we're going to fix her aging skin and completely change her life.
And this is how her skin looks now after just 1 month. After helping hundreds of women repair their skin, people still act shocked when I tell them this.
The real reason Korean women glow at 60 while American women look like grandmas at 40 isn't genetics. It's something way worse. See, American skincare companies don't actually want to heal your skin. They sell you products that damage your skin barrier on purpose and sell you another product to fix it temporarily, then that stops working, so you buy again. That's how they trap you in the buy, fail, buy again cycle. And that's how they print billions every year. You think you're aging, but you're not. You're being farmed. So you spend thousands on cleansers, serums, moisturizers, retinol, and still end up with duller skin, more texture, more breakouts, deeper lines, and dark spots that won't fade. And then they blame your age. But here's what Korean women have known for decades. Your skin isn't aging. It's starving. Starving for the right ingredients that actually repair it. And if you knew how simple it really is, the beauty industry would go bankrupt tomorrow. So here's what actually makes your skin look younger. First, niacinamide. It strengthens your barrier and fades dark spots fast. Second, glycolic acid gently removes dead skin so your real glow shows. Third, snail mucin repairs damage, boosts collagen, deeply hydrates. Sounds crazy? Works insanely well. Fourth, hyaluronic acid pulls hydration deep into your skin instead of sitting on top. And fifth, licorice root naturally brightens hyperpigmentation without burning your face. These 5 ingredients are why Korean women glow at 50 and why most Americans look older at 30. But here's the catch: buying all of that separately is insanely expensive, and most brands water them down anyway. That's why I use and recommend GU dark spot pads. They combine all 5 into one simple pad. You swipe once a day, and over time you'll see it: dark spots fading, fine lines softening, skin getting firmer, and your glow actually coming back. But GU is a small company that's getting really popular lately, so if you click my bio and they're sold out again, yeah, that's why. If you want the exact Korean routine thousands of women follow, comment routine and I'll send it to you.
So it's really simple. Again, we don't show the product until the very tail end. We want to have this entire emotional build-up, so they are dying to hear what we have to sell. Similar results, 160K from a single video posted all organically. All right, so on a business perspective, why is this so interesting? Ezra yesterday was mentioning that 30% of a business revenue is spent on marketing, out of which about half is spent on creatives. So that means about 15% of your P&L is spent on making creatives, and that's generally working with influencers or making your own in-house content. When you work with influencers, you're generally paying $500 to up to $10,000 making a video for content that's going to take 1 or 2 weeks to be generated, maybe a couple iterations and so on. You have limited control over what they actually create because every influencer wants to have their own spin. Also, it's not as scalable because it's one video at a time. And if you want to penetrate a new market, do something in a different language, you have to start from scratch, effectively. Whereas using influencers, it's a fraction of the cost. It takes just a couple hours to go from an idea to a finished video. You have complete control over the script, the visual, and the aesthetic of the video, and you can make an unlimited amount of them. You can also, if you want to change language and penetrate France or Germany and so on, you can just keep the same video, just change the voiceover. And so if you can save 15% on your P&L by capitalizing on AI creators, I think this is an opportunity worth diving into for all of us. So the AI influencer market is expected to grow to $46 billion by 2030. And I predict that every major brand will be using AI influencers just because it makes so much more sense than working with humans at the end of the day. And again, I'm very bullish on humans. It's just so much cheaper, more effective, more scalable to work with AI that every brand, when it comes to performance and direct response marketing, are going to be leveraging AI sooner or later. So what can you take away from this keynote? Really, I would recommend to spend some time studying the emotional arc framework. You don't have to spend hundreds of hours on it, but try it with one script, one of your best hero cues, and from that, use the simple workflow that I shared to make your video and post it. If it doesn't work, you haven't lost much time, but you can go through this iteration process such that you're not left behind and you'll have like an early mover advantage and not be late to the party. If you're selling in Europe, please start TikTok Shop now. It is the biggest opportunity for all of us. It's such an untapped market and it's so easy to get results there. So I've created this playbook. This is what you want to scan if you want to have the script, the templates, the tool stack, so on and so forth. It's completely free. I'm not even doing an email opt-in on this. To bring it all together, it's a $66 billion industry that is growing quarter over quarter and month over month. 90% of all content is going to be AI regardless by the end of this year. So get on the train. This is the biggest opportunity. It's really simple. It's the same marketing fundamentals that you all know, just brought into a new format. It's just a simple learning curve of learning how to repackage the same marketing principles into TikTok videos. And if you do so, you can literally make hundreds of thousands of dollars organically. Now, if you want this done for you because you don't want to figure it out, this is what I do with my agency. Or you can also text me on Instagram where I'm happy to help. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much.